Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Tech Data Engineer. So in this video we will see CI/CD, why we are using and what is the use of that. Okay, so CI/CD stand for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, or you can say continuous delivery also. So these are the key practice in modern software development, aiming of improving the speed and quality of software delivery. So if we wanted the rapid development and rapid delivery of the software or any development, so then we are using the CI/CD. So there are multiple reasons why we are using CI/CD because of rapid development and error prone software. If suppose if you wanted you don't want any manual intervention, then we are using the CI/CD to make the build and then deploy to the productions. Okay, so basically these are the things for speed up and quality of software delivery we are using the CI/CD. Okay, so how CI/CD work? Basically continuous integration. So continuous integration is a practice where developer frequently integrate their code change into a shared repository. So what it means, like suppose there is a repository called xyz. Okay, and there are four developer that basically they are doing the code change. Okay, so I am doing the code change, some other developer are also doing the code change. So we have to take care, like suppose if I am doing some change and raising PR and if merged to the development branch, and if some other developer is doing the same thing, then existing functionality should not be changed. Okay, so continuous integration. So basically we will see first continuous integration is a practice where developer frequently integrate their code change into a shared repository, often multiple times a day. So each integration verified by a automated build and test to each issue early. Okay, and catch issue if there is a issue. So what is happening basically? So continuous integration, suppose you multiple time in a day, suppose 5 10 6 time you are committing the code. So every times whatever the code you are committing, if you are adding some incremental functionality, so the old functionality should not be any change. If there is any issue with the old functionality, so automatically there is a pop-up which basically tells that okay, there is some issue with that. Okay, so how it works? So first step is the code commit. So developer write code and commit change to the version control system like git or bitbucket or gitlab, something like that. So whatever you are using, so first step is the code commit. So whenever developer write code and commit change to version control system like git, and then automated build. Then what is the second step? So each commit trigger an automated build process. This means that the code is compiled and packaged. So what is the second step would be, after code come in, there would be a automated build happen, like it got compiled and then it got packaged if necessary. Okay, then automated test. So automated test, like it's either a unit test or performance integration test. Mostly it is like a unit test or integration test are run to ensure that the new code does not break the existing functionality. And then fourth is the feedback. So if there is any issue, if the build or test fails, suppose developer receive feedback, address the quick, so that it will basically respond to that quickly. Okay, so continuous integration, what are the step happen? Code commit, automated build, automated test, and then feedback. Whatever the feedback after in test cases run, if there is a failure, automatically it will get the feedback. Okay, so suppose imagine a team working on a web application. So each developer commit change to the main code base several times a day. Okay, so CI tools like Jenkins or Travis CI or GitHub Actions automatically build the application and run a suite of tests. So whatever the suite test cases defined, so if developer introduce a bug, the CI system will detect the problem immediately, allowing the team to fix it because it like before it reaches to the user. Okay, so before it reaches to a user, what it will do, it will just after running the test cases, it will you can say give a pop-up. Now after continuous integration, after all this step, what is the now comes to continuous delivery. So in continuous delivery, what is happening, it is a practice where code change are automatically deployed to the production environment, production or staging or production, okay, after after successful CI checks. So first step is the CI, like continuous integration check, code commit, automated build, automated test, and if there is any failure or success, so most in the case of failure, it will get a triggered, so that would be the feedback. So after this step, the continuous delivery happen. So continuous delivery practice where code change are automatically deployed to the production environment after passing CI checks. So this can be done in two way: continuous deployment, where every change that passes test is deployed, and continuous delivery, where code changes are prepared for the release but require a manual setup to deploy. So after continuous integration, in continuous delivery there are two things: either continuous delivery deployment, either continuous deployment, or either continuous deployment or continuous delivery. So in continuous delivery, what happen, there is a manual intervention required, okay, where code changes are prepared but release uh, code, see, in case of continuous delivery, code changes are prepared for release but require a manual setup to deploy. But in case of continuous deployment, every changes that pass test is deployed, okay, so there is no manual intervention required. So what happened, so how it will work. So first, in continuous deployment, what happened basically, first would be the CI checks. So after successful CI check, continuous integration passes, the code is automatically pushed to the staging or production environment. Then automated deploy happen, deploying a script or tool handle the, so we have to write the deployment, you can say script or tool that basically handle the deployment process, which may include a step like configuring the server, updating database, or whatever the step you want, we can write. Then monitoring and rollback, okay. So the monitoring and rollback, like the deployment is monitored for issue. If something goes wrong, then again what will happen, there is a feedback happen, similar to the CI. If there is some fail happen, then it will trigger I can say feedback message. So continuing, so in the case of continuing to the same, we can say, consider the example, with the web application, once the code passes all CI check, what we have already discussed in the CI. So what happened here in CD, once the code passes all the CI check, so what it will do, it will automatically deploy to the staging environment, where it can be tested in the production like settings, okay. If everything looks good, the CD process will deploy the change to the live production environment without manual intervention, okay. So if delivery is continuous delivery is there, then manual intervention required. If continuous deployment is there, there is no manual things required, okay. So basically, so what basically CI CD do, so CI automatically, to automating the integration and testing of code change to detect issues early, okay. So there are two steps. So CI, what basically do, CI basically automate the integration and testing of code change to detect the issue early, and CD, what it will do, after successful CI check, it will basically deploy the code to the production. So this is the simple CI. Basically every code commit, that will create a build, and then based on the test cases, it will run the test. If there is a success or if there is a failure, it will give the feedback. After the continuous delivery happened, in continuous delivery, what will happen, continuous delivery basically, what it will do, it will just deploy the code to the production, okay. So it will do to the productions. So how basically we will see, like how we will do all this. So to deploy, suppose you have a module called xyz in your git repo. So let us see example what steps we have to follow. This is the overview as basically. So first you have to set up your git repo. So you have to set up your git repo. Then in git repo there would be a source code, then there would be a configuration file and deployment script. So in deployment script, all things are there, like what are the steps we have to follow. In YML file, what are the database we have to configure, and all, everything would be there, okay. So ensure your git repo have source code configuration file and deployment script. This is the mandatory to do CI/CD. Okay, so okay, so choose CI/CD tool. So you can choose select CI/CD tool based on your preference. So some companies working on GitHub Action, some company GitLab, some company Jenkins, Circle CI, Travis CI. There is a cloud based solution. If you are working on cloud based, you can use Circle CI or Travis CI based on that. Then you have to create your CI/CD configuration. So you need to define the configuration file. So these three things are mandatory, like source code, deployment script and all. So under that, if you have to create your CI/CD configuration, so you need to define a configuration file that specify how your CI/CD pipeline should run. This configuration file tells the CI/CD system that what step to perform at different stage of the process. So configuration file is like a basic configuration you have to, that will basically tell the steps. Okay, and then so let us see an example with a GitHub. Okay, create a workflow file. So in your Git repository, create a file named, you can create a file called deployment.yml. This file will define the CI/CD pipelines. Then define the workflow. So name would be CI/CD pipeline. Then on push branch, what we have to do, trigger the pipeline on push to the main branch. Then job build will happen. Then what are the step like checkout code or actions, whatever we have to take, we can take. Then everything, this all like install dependencies or run the test or build. So this all step is already defined under the workflow. Okay, what are the step we have to take basically. Then we have to do the deploy and complete. Okay, then you have to write the deployment script. So the deployment script, like deployment.sh file would be the script file for deployment, should involve the specific of deploying your code to the production environment. So in I can say deployment script, what we have to do, we have to uploading file to the server or cloud services, running command to start services, or updating the configuration. Like example, like sh file, suppose we have. So in sh file we have like a bash command. Okay, so copy code some, so bash command like we have bean sh, whatever the like you can, whatever the you can say command we have to write, we will write that. And then the other step would be the command configuration environment secrets. Okay, so in your CI/CD tools, like suppose sometimes you require the API, so configure API or server credentials. So in Git Actions, you go to setting, and there is options called secret and variables. So under that you can and under that you have actions, you can just set up your API key or server credential. In GitLab, you go to your settings, CI/CD, and then variable. Then the next step would be the set test and monitor. So push whatever the changes, push into your Git repo. The CI/CD pipeline should automatically trigger and execute the define step. So whatever you have defined, then you can go, you can check your logs, you can check the monitor and all these things. So you can do these steps even. Okay, so basically, why CI/CD? So CI/CD basically for continuous integration and continuous deployment. So nowadays we require rapid development, error prone software delivery. So because of these things, we don't require any manual intervention to deploy the code to the production or create the build and all. So because of that, we are using the CI/CD. Okay, so for that we will use like CI/CD automated tool like Jenkins, TeamCity, or Bamboo. Or for containers, for orchestrations, we are using Docker, Kubernetes. Deployment and monitoring, we are using like Ansible, Terraform, or Grafana. Mostly I have used Grafana, Terraforms and Grafana. So you have to choose your correct tool like GitHub or Git Actions for other things. So like based on your requirement, you can choose and you can do all this setup. Okay, so why, so CI/CD, so steps are like code commit, then continuous integration, triggering and building, check out the code, build, test and feedback. Then in continuous degree like deployment, what we have to do, successful completion of CI process, then build again, compile or package the code, then test, then run. And then delivery, again deploy into the staging, validations, approval if needed. If approval we have to do, or deploy to the production, monitoring, then again monitoring and feedback. So these are the steps you have to follow for entire CI/CD pipeline to from code commit to test and monitor to the production server. So these are the steps we have to do basically. Okay, thank you, thanks for watching.